Anyway, we want to thank Bertrand and his lovely family for, having us do our crazy shtick. So we're going to try our best to make everyone feel good. Should we tell everybody what the rules are? You can't leave without buying a collage. They're all on sale today. I don't know, Bertrand's going to do something about passing the hat, but that's up to Bertrand. So but since no one's going to tell you anything, I have to tell you. So I feel like a jerk because I'm the guy who's supposed to just read the post, you know what I mean? But they always make me the jerk, the fool, the fall guy. You know what a fall guy is? Oh, it's funny. It's a guy who likes the fall better than the summer.
Agat has a question.
Who has a question? Yes, Agat.
Is it already the poetry or?
This is it. That was it. I'm done. Benjamin's going to play a quick solo, and that's it. So, and then Didier is just going to hold up his new CD. So yeah, that's the other thing because it's very difficult. We do this in New York too, and it's always kind of crazy. So we love what we do, and we love it if you guys feel good about what we do and what we say. You take us home. So up here are all Didi and Benjamin CDs and beautiful vinyl, which I have, which is a great record, and all kinds of great stuff. This is their newest CD, just came out. It looks a little bit like Ornette Coleman at the Golden Circle. Just a little bit, right? Just not a lot, that's real. Because when I kept looking at it, I say, which one is Ornette? So, okay. Before Benjamin and I start, which I'm wasting more time than I should, you all know Yuko, and for all those of you who don't, that's too bad. You will know her very soon. So Yuko is going to read it a little first for all of us. And I'm not trying to stand in her way. I just don't know where else to go. I'll sit on.
I read from two small books. First, I read. Whenever we travel, we write. We write in New York, but we travelogues and poems in the new places. And this was it's called Pink. It's a part of my travelogue I did in Paris. So I read a tiny bit. It's a prose poem in honor to Baudelaire because he was a master of prose poem when he started. So I will read a very short piece. It's actually written in Japanese and I translate it in English. But I read in English. The first one is called Bluebird so-and-so. You have so many bluebirds, so so-and-so. Bluebird so-and-so. Number 2. Imagine and improvise. A synonym in different languages. Improviser votre mode. Improvise your mood. An association between to imagine and to improvise and their connection to the act of creation. A white midsummer heat on the bluebird instantaneously evaporates our breath. In addition, blueness of the sky makes our senses unstable. Swallowed by a wave of people, we walk. The white shell city abruptly casts its costume of beauty away. In the landscape of a new reality, only shadows under the bridge garter and rippling patterns of the river water give me some comfort. In heat, everything, even the shape of history, aloofly dries up, and I fall into a melancholy. Being healthier than ever before, I, no matter what, reject getting intoxicated in a spleen. Instead, I sink farther into the deep silence. In such a silence, I keep walking, erect. Then I read a little poem. Everything is kind of long, so I'm not reading it. And Kane's garden. There's a little garden not too far from Musée Picasso, and it's a kind of round garden. Kane's garden. In the circle-shaped stillness, our lives privately take a rest. Summer trees scatter green flowers, full to the maximum in the afterglow of the remote past's form and figure. I share the moment and the space with an old woman I have never met before. In her spring of words, I pick up the familiar word, soleil. Okay, so that's sampling. And then this is what I wanted to read for you. It's called Garden. I write haiku in Japanese, and so I read first in Japanese and in English translation. Garden in Japanese, niwa. The word is a garden for us. Start with some. Starts with winter and just fall, spring, warm. Okay, first, I'm sorry. 靴の紐、二重に湧いて暖冬。Warm winter rain. I double knot my shoelaces. 水滴や一つ二つが一つになり。Are drops of water, one and two become one. Are drops of water, one and two become one. 芋の皮、剥いて万有に赴く。Peeling potato skins, I get in touch with 1,000 things. 早咲きの水仙まぶしい分かれ道 Forked path, the dazzling early blossoming daffodil 雪降りて浮かび滅びる足の跡 Snow falls, footprints rise and fall 桃の花探してふかし、幸不幸 Looking for peach flowers, happiness, unhappiness deepens 無意無策、月に誘われ月を見る Doing nothing, called by the moon, I look at it日暮れてもなお雲白きさつきよや May night, even after sunset, clouds are white 潮入りの川を眺めてすぐり飲み Viewing a river where the tide comes in, gooseberries薄雲のかかる姫ごと天の川 Thin clouds overcasting the Milky Way, a secret affair 夜の雨器洗いて誤字正す Night rain I wash dishes and then correct misspelled words 言葉よりリンゴ香るや夜の部屋 Night room, the smell of apples from words 大海に飛び込むごとくみかん食う As if jumping into the ocean, I eat an orange. 暗淡とチェロ曲聴き鳥になる Darkly, I listen to a cello suite and become a bird. 人の波、くぐり魚の心知る。Diving through a wave of people, I learn a heart of fish. 一周し、はじめに戻る鐘の音。That's the end of the earphone. 一周し、はじめに戻る鐘の音。Coming full circle, returning to the beginning, the sound of a bell. Thank you.
See why I'm still married to her?
Why?
I have no idea. Theory block for Benjamin Dubach. We were certainly getting closer to the city because the stars were disappearing. Men, gods, and puppies all performed their taboos. The inner core of Plixel and the dark sun and melancholic gibbous moon, the nerves soft and scratching, the aging youth talking to the dust, the dead poet who no longer ages, the passage toward desire, the writer's pen, the church bell, Mandarin and Dorian mode gray, Mandarin and Dorian mode gray, the sonnet and summit, hellos, the new sun, its gospel, the grand king, his discount cyclops and cyclones, rainbow factories and cycles forever in touch, your merging and vertigon nova, pistolo kebaba, potatoes, and the silence and the sandwiched here between each measure image, the silence and sandwiched here in between each measure image in air, sad, sad museums. Et chocolate show and the show at the center of culture and the nuggets of serenity, sonorities, a universe of mountains and various strata. Ah, poor Alondra, suction motor, Adalada, limbo being half full and phenom, rib-caged, bow-strung, lioli, ciola, poor lavre est, swift away, and Fishiano, inno, aluma, ukalaya, mad barini, akaka, combo, rain, and conch here, dubella, 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 dubella of land and to 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 land. We were certainly getting closer to the city because the stars, the very stars, were disappearing. Duets, squeaky ladders and false floors, watching your step, every step. Two voices get together in the empty room. The tree shakes itself of its voices. Two tongues touch. They say warm to each other. Two buttons, two fingernails. Your hand around my neck. I say to you once, I say is enough. I say to you once, I say is enough. Two lights shine on the strings. Two strings that open the soft belly of your muse. Duets. Two shoes speak softly, they speak their minds. Two independent conversations. He makes everything that is everything, and once is enough. Warm, gracious thank yous. Dog, dog, dog. One is like the other. Dog in the rain. One is like the other. Rain, dog, dog in the rain. One is like the other. Like water and glass, from pressed against cheek, from hot ice, from magic and superstition, from airy connivance, between skin and summer, conveyance and contrivance, between afternoon and evening, the other, duets. Peel like a lemon, I swallow you so many times. We open and we close, duets are duets, half empty and half full. Salt, stab, ribs, suck. Don't do what the papers tell you to do. How he's always saying something, how he's always saying something. This. Duets. Sublime, misstep, sublime, blind, sublime, climb, misstep. We love like angels, we dance like angels on the keys, on the strings, like awkward ballerinas. How many elements make up a dream? One. You dream your dream, you dream your dream, and your dream is you. Standing on the edge of God's threshold, he says, you made the wish. You made the wish, but you did not accept its coming true. So I give it to you, this wish, duets. The Son and the Son and the Father and the Son and the Mother and the dancer and the duet. The duet is ours. We sing as our mentors taught us to sing. We think, we feel, we hear, we duets. I'm just me, and I'm in here somewhere, I'm in here somewhere, and I'm over there somewhere, and I'm in there somewhere, and I'm here somewhere, back there, I'm back there somewhere, at the beginning's end, at the beginnings of end of the beginnings of ends of the beginnings of ends of I'm back there somewhere, I'm back there somewhere, at the beginning of our beginning of our beginning of our ends of the beginnings of our end, back there at the very birth, I'm back there at the very birth. Even in blind folds, two folds unfold. I raise both hands as in a sign of prayer and a sign of giving up. It's a gesture of the same organic duets. There's the best man, there's the first man, there's the last man, there's the worst man. I raise both hands as if surrendering, then escape through a hole in my skull. There's the best man, there's the first man, there's the last man, there's the worst man. Finally integrated, language into playing. What makes a duet? What makes a duet? What makes a duet? Three. Three elements combine to make a dream. A dog in the rain. I see it. I sleep it. I imagine it. Dream. It sees me. It sleeps me. It imagines me. A dream in the rain. Duets. One is not like the other. Infinite elements form to make a duet. Time, sound, space. No elements make up a duet. You dream me into place. We are bottom and bottomless. On it, of it. Three elements make up a dream. The dreamer, the dreamer, the dream. A nautilus curving a cappella is inquiry. Inquiry is dream. A memory of the future, a blue note, a note come due. Because all elements make up a dream, we, that is we, are its proof. This is not a new song, but it's smoke, a constant, an element. You take one away, and the one remains. Duets. It takes heat to put the heat on. 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 I knew we were getting closer to the city because the stars just kept disappearing. I don't know. I only complain in my head, he said. The music filled the jars and filled the bags and filled the paper with words. That's good, I said. Maybe I'll learn to complain that way myself someday before I die, if I live long enough. That's why people don't like me, I think. I say I complain out loud because I complain out loud. Maybe I'll learn to complain in my head one day if I live long enough, if it don't kill me first. Strata covers me with its weight. Strata covers me like bags and glass and other non-breathing things. Me always unbreathing. The music is a timepiece and timeless, as timely as whatever layer we happen to be laying in. Music covers me like sweat. The sweat forms dirt, forms strata. Somewhere beneath the flesh of my skin there are other mountains. I'm an engraving as old as tomorrow. I'm a repeat of you. In strata we lie like broken umbrellas on beaches, unopened umbrellas on beaches, forgotten and begotten. Inside us little pieces of bamboo and valley and turtle and waterfall and river. I do not close my eyes. I do not listen for even one breath, but only hear, for I do not breathe. I do not even breathe. Do you? I absorb you in my wilderness, flora and fauna, expressionless expressions, mouth forming many expressionless mouths, eyes expressionless stares, staring and staring and staring and beating and beating and beating and always beating and beating and beating and always beating and beating and beating and beating and beating and beating and beating it, beating it, beating it, beating it, beating. I knew we were getting closer to the city. afterthought, before thinking. The pole that sits between two poles is thought. Valley of nerves. The chairs are there for sitting, filled. We sit in chairs until it's time to get up and walk away, unless walking is no longer possible, unless getting up is long since given up, settled down, needed assistance, just stopped working. Have you ever thought about the time when everything just stopped working? Water, for instance, will never stop working. It may spoil like soggy lunch, but it'll never, ever stop working. Million slaves died, he said, so he thought he'd never drink coffee again. Soggy, rain-gray lunch hour, but it sure tastes good. You know, I never thought I'd drink coffee again, but it sure tastes good. 100 million drank, and he had no cash to give them. They drank the water for better or worse, whether it quenched them or killed them with its poisonous lies, or until the master yelled, "Stop." Nerves, they never go away. Never, ever. Even revenge never leaves the nerve ends. Like crazy conspiracy afterthought, take the man who put the gun to your head and pull the trigger. Do not pay this check ever before thinking. The giant begins to cry. Well shallow fills, well empty dries. Well, chairs are filled, then empty, then filled. The little boy pulls at his slingshot and then he says, let's make things better before thinking. The valley is a nerve and a profile, thought before thinking. What kind of nerves do you think I have anyway? I have a right to be here too. 100 million. 100 million slaves died and he never thought he would drink coffee again. Thought before thinking. What kind of nerves do you think I've got? The server and the served, whose parts are whose here in the future? Who sits at our table? Thought after thought after thought after thought after thinking. It's his head now. It's his head now, so pull the trigger. It's his head now, so pull the trigger. Rainfall on the right side of the brain, clouds gray and white tinged by paling sunlight, sky pale as well and a pad as well, and here we are at its moving, the moving elephant boy and its head, the tiny burnt orange dog with pale white orange profile, rests its eyes closed on her left arm, not quite a bewilderment, but a what now? Sleep wakens Sleep wakens as the auto industry collapses around us and the rain increases on the right side of the brain, the train. And she pets the now quietly crying dog right on the cuff. And the backbeat of someone's iPod sounds so much like the sifting of sand through a strainer with a broken net, and the dog pants gently, and her voice is nowhere near as soft as I'd imagined as she speaks into her phone, and the elephant boy and I passed Dusseldorf together, and he nearly recovered from his spill into the river from the sky. Was he pushed? Another mystery goes unsolved, and the dog's whining increases as it jumps from her lap. Quite bigger than I imagined, with its long, bushy ochre tail, and I imagine the elephant boy, and I'm running up the hillside toward the tower of his beloved Rain, stopping as the sunset stops, and the dog's irritability increases like a child's, and then suddenly the rain begins to fall on the left side of my brain. I wanted to draw the sound, the ticks of the clock, a rustle of the wind, or restlessness. I wanted to remove my hands from crime. I wanted to draw the sound to me, draw it in, draw it near me, the way a vampire feeds on others to feed itself. I wanted to spin galaxies short of tiny men and their mallets. I drew a deep breath, and as quickly and as possibly I expelled it, and I wanted to draw each vibration in depth. I took a deep breath and I drew my weapon, your sound reverberating like a cough, a page cracking like the luck of the draw, all circles not quite of light but of dimension, here in a world that seems so flat and square. I wanted to draw sound as it actually spun around, sound spinning, breath drawn, drawing all so close to me, and me drawn closer to the round that sound produces. And now I understand why others want to draw the sound, to draw it in, to explain it in wobbly pictures rather than words, lines, multi-directional lines, waves if you prefer, sound waves, drawing us in all ways in another, drawing us in all ways, there's another depth. I wanted to draw sound, I wanted to draw it in, I wanted to draw the sound in. In the Cafe Ada, in the Spiegelei, in the big room, in the little city, soft square corners, and his hard edge pulled as a da, as a da, as a da, as a da, as the space is squared, so is his breath, and so is his sound, and not unlike the redhead and her nose in the mirror, and it sees him in the glass and the faces that can only be a window, and even him as he repeats himself, there is this moving unclarity, Adada, and my mind clears for the moment, and it forms again with its own witness. Who tells who? Who tells who? One is, and one is. Who tells who? And tables and chairs and air, and who tells who? And he's one of the founding fathers who never left but refused to give what he found to those who loved, because they refused to take what he had to give when the first was offered into exile in his own land, bringing the stuff everywhere but home. But then the day he gave them what they now expected, he being one of the city's fathers, he's free. He is free as an angel. Joe, do you understand? He is free as an angel. This evening isn't very happy with this sound. Joe, don't you understand? died. The cafe Ada and Joe is half full of all these half empties and those shapes in the form of the night on the hard edge, never softened, even when transfixing itself with allegorical balladeering. Why she keeps looking at her watch, I'll never know, which is protest and present and nothing to fix that we are so fixed and transfixed here, more like Joe. I hope by now you change your mind and you understand what you're listening to, Joe. He's one of the founding fathers. Don't be soured. Come closer and breathe in his breath and listen to his sound and the curtains in the mirror and the black silence across the street as the windows to the glass door go dark, go light, go dark, go light, go dark, go light, go dark, go light, go dark, go light. Joe, don't give up, Joe. Don't give up, Joe. Don't give up, Joe. In this big room in the cafe Ada, along a silent street that goes dark, it goes light, that goes dark, it goes light. Don't give up, Joe. 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 And the twirl of the bodily twist and the rave glove, gentle blood, and certainly there's a pure streaming and a twist and a shook hand and behind the head and a foot raised and the sound of laughing begetters and the dance, and there's a slow drift and a certain whiteness in the space and a certain pure streaming, captured holding, loop-pooled fixed eyes, unspoiled text, knowing, soaring, sorting through legions, legends, alliances, the legion of every is kudos and strip the air of non-essentials, let off the conundrums of all there is, relying here where a camera can only capture the stillness of the movement of the moments, and antennae alert, air alert in the outcome of the onslaught where it pours the fixed eyes, staying ever fixed as even the heads themselves begin to roll. It's a red alert, it's a red alert, the engines arrive and the plinging and the piping and the plinging and the piping and the barreling and the barbling and the plinging and the piping and the barreling and the barbling and the plinging and the piping and the barreling and the barbling have set the house on fire. We've set the house on fire, and now we regroup and we adrift in the midstream, and a lupa, a doula in the dark that is the eyes and the whiteness of their eyes, the very whiteness of their eyes, and the blonde hidden bag shoppers and the long blued hollow blown eyes and the whiteness of their eyes. What spotted chance gotten knocked in the Dubai and the oop pin strip and the tie cord glimpse of the glips and the glops and the too much beat and the beat added the rave glove, gentle heavy blood, and there's a slow drift in the whiteness of the space and the twirl of the bodily twist. There's a slow drift, there's a slow drift in the breath that again becomes the breath and the skill side of the breath and contemplating the plate of the plate of the plate and the sumantra of the mantra and the forms into itself and the plate and the shift and the fast and the state of frequency, and now the detritus quake and the plate scramble, ribble and drift and the circulation and the confluence and the influence and the fluency and the deliverance and the abandonment and the control. It's not his work if you can get it, and relatively speaking, choice cups, promiscuous ramblings, sedatiable charge, depth, arrival, and the unafraidability, and the soulless, and the solace, and the soulless solace, and the will to, and the skilled side, and no longer a factor with the facts, prime, malleus, meeting once again, and a phonetic call away from the contact with there from the other side of distance, from the other side of distance, and there's a slow drift in the whiteness of the space and the evening, and as the sound of laughing begethers and the dance and the red alert and the engines arriving and relying the wear of the camera that can only capture what we see in the stillness of the movement of the moment, and you know, we must be getting closer to the city. All the stars seem to be disappearing. A land. Just how sweet I think you are. Why haven't I told you? A land, a land, a land, a land. We must be getting closer to the city. All the stars seem to be disappearing. We must be getting closer to the city. All the air seems to be disappearing. We must be getting closer to the city. Because all the sound is reappearing. We must be getting closer. We must be getting closer. We must be getting closer. Benjamin. Benjamin and I have been playing 20 years together and we still can't get it right? We're gonna take like a 5 or 8 minute break if people want to drink something and go to the toilet. DBA is gonna set up his drum and then they're gonna drive me to drink again. And CDs and stuff and books and stuff and you want to switch sides? You want to switch sides? I'll be the good guy, you be the bad guy? Well, again, I want to thank everybody, and I particularly want to thank that lovely lady and her husband and their 2 children. I can't thank Bertrand, because Bertrand and I, we always... Bertrand. Today, I had a lesson in how to say people's names right. Bertrand. What else was there?
Benjamin.
Oh, Benjamin. Benjamin. Jesus, you guys should come visit Brooklyn sometime. Okay. Yeah. So it's and also I see a lot of people we don't know and some friends who we've made over the years here, like little Virginia, who I actually met in New York for the first time. Virginia. Chance, who I met a long time ago and tried to sneak into a Song de Ver concert, and I failed. It was a terrible thing. I tried my best, though, didn't I? I tried. I tried very hard. Matthias, who is, I guess, one of the newest additions to our family, and we couldn't be more pleased. We adopted him. He's going to be curating a great show at the Jewish Museum this spring through summer with John Zorn and all these crazy people from New York. So that should be interesting, or it should be terrible, right? I'm especially happy, of course. Any of you who know me the last few years, I know I always go into the same spiel, but you know how I feel about this guy. So.
He loves him.
And why he puts up with me, I don't have any idea. And what I strongly tell my friends I know in France and Paris, and I'm especially really happy and respectful of Agath, because Agath is one of the people we talked about this a lot, and then Agath did this festival this summer, and she fulfilled one of my dreams of the last 5 or 6 years, which was to have a festival that were pretty much mostly great French musicians, because a lot of festivals around the world, particularly New York, or even big festivals here in Paris, they tend to have a lot of artists who are not from their hometown and who are not really, I mean, some of them are okay, but mostly it's bullshit. So Agath did a really great job this summer, and I was told by many people how successful the festival was, and I just think it's very important that we just don't support the music and the artists we love, but that we support a lot of the people that are where we are, you know. Of course, if we think they stink, then, you know, people stink everywhere, so if they stink, you don't have to support them. You just give them a pat on the back and say, good luck. Or you say, very interesting. Very interesting. All I want in this creation's a pretty little girl in a big plantation. Hey, little black-eyed Susie. Hey, little black-eyed Susie, hey. All I want to make me happy, 2 little girls to call me Pappy. Hey, little black-eyed Susan. Hey, little black-eyed Susan, hey. Square St. George came revisited. Here circling by accident. Foxglove on fire, fox hunt, long gone. She is still and still naked in the midst of floral. Camille's sad smile. A decolage, ageless, perfumed taste, amazed patisserie willy-nilly May is near, and like their summer arrives too early, sans spring and already on its way. She holds on to her virginity like loaves of bread, a veiled doorway, always. I secretly the charming veterinarian, a stained glass angel of sorts, bottomless and bottomless, a happy black and gold clock, all negre, stopped at 11:05. Holding up my tobacco pipe for a whole generation of lost puppies, entire generations of blank duchesses, blanched elegances destroyed and donated, notations et scene Beru, offering a plan of evacuation, a carrier of caskets of foreign matters. Do the math, it's simple as light is simple, as 10 maps on a burning stilt is simple, as a rolling old threads down a slope is simple. Do the math, as the transmission of images is simple. Storming the Bastille is simple. Artillery as demolition and reduction of pillaging the invalids is simple. A planned evacuation, a convention of monarchs, and here comes Discord Day again, and there she is outside the window, hands behind her back, wearing her patinas shyly, circling in the prancing youth of oblivious to her own glance, ignorant of her own nakedness. And even the violation of her flesh, her grave, her ashes and bones cannot make this day more spoiled, sans issues. And there she is again, trapped within sunlight, eternally on the run. And not even prehistory can stop this monolithic assemblage. Not even this century foretell histories to come, no matter how obvious all seems to be. A pied foot, a peed, a pied, 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 and the royal gloomies. Sex are the Place de Vosges. Playing with her hair on the grass, she is her own lover. Fountain of bottomless gargoyles, spew smoke from the mouths of long-gone winters. Where you are, I will follow. Eyes wrapped in your skin, your motion, a perpetual stillness. These diamond-shaped footprints in the sand, trees entreaded like marks born with a sweeping gesture. Garden of sand, flower, tree, and grass. Pigeons bathing, washing their equivalences, i.e. underarms, here in the Place de Vosges, entire rooms of furniture up in arms, and a coat of arms worn by every arboreality. And one hand, a one-handed timepiece that gently turns her beauty over and over again as old age converges on the greenery, her hair flame-colored like a fox on fire. And we take off her stocking and kiss young Mary's foot. And here in the Place de Vosges, everyone takes off their socks, unveiling slightly passages that only lead inward. And here, silently whistling in the Place de Vosges, he sits to observe the carnage, a carnival of marred possibilities. Ramble, preamble, he ambles back to a convenient spot for spying, hands behind his back, this old man squarely circling his yesterday. The little girl in the flowering dress with the pink plastic sand pail in the Place de Vosges. A bird splashes the air with frantic voice minglings. I'm stopped. The tree watching slow-moving clouds. Chimneys these days are like the four seasons. Her knees bend slightly forward, erasing circumstance. He pretends to slap his lover as they run around the circle of stone, and then his motions skim erase all traces of themselves, spilling like invisible waters onto the sand. A mirror strand of explosionary identicals. The little boy with his gun, shooting birds. All I wanted, this creation. When you lose things, you always think you're losing things. Our rendezvous des amis, the Canaries. Explore different emotions, speak to the Canaries in different languages, pale orange, pale yellow, steal from your own tail feathers and from the fragments of song. Speak to them as if they were your friends, the Canaries. Take their voices if possible. Get intimate, visit their next of kin. Don't try to order their lives or yours. Act as if the door that separates you is clear, that the screen is only a shadow of your partnership. Spend quality time building your relationship. Eat your salad. Spend some time alone. every day if possible, from that day forward. It's simple. Don't justify your actions. Don't justify your personal life. Don't protect protection or protect your failures or successes. It's arbitrary at times to eat garbage. Also, it's necessary. It's necessary to substitute one salad for another. Though despite the similarities, difficult to duplicate the original experience, one salad is never the same salad twice. Let the birds speak to you as they study the menu. Then swallow the damn thing, gizzard and all. After sharing the gossip, trading the love, mimicking discussion, feigning recognition, and playing the game as children would, it's simple. The little boy unloads his weapon into the little girl's bucket. Bigotry, les argents des deux, and the trances of life. Extinct species, the list goes on and on. Ménage à trois. A third enters and a darker orange, fluffier, fatter. The three birds share seed. V-I-P-R-I-P. Viper, vapor, ripper, zipper, duh. Friendship is a give and take. You give, I'll take. Oops. My soft-boiled eggs are getting hard. Ship A, the Luxembourg Gardens. The relationship between seagull and fountain. If I see one more bird washing itself, self, the relationship of the self to water. Beneath the trees, possibility of being shat on by pigeons. Example, she just gets shit on. Ship B, the same location. The young boy's sailboat sails away. The pigeons eat pale red blossoms. Their shit is thick and orange. Radical surgery of the soul. I find the decapitated geranium at the outdoor market, red like a wound, no longer its original self. Only the idea of the geranium remains. Yes, I was born a Jew, she tells me. I eat peanut butter and matzah, tongue stuck to my palate, language in check, and me here, holding my identity card. So here I am, dead among the living, 2 chickens for the price of 1. Here I wrote my book. Here I fed the eventual grasses and polluted the air with my ashes. Here my grin and unbulging bowels. Here was my name. Wounded and crippled and crippling. Here I was, with the door left open. You entered, veiled, scaled, shut tight. Wajnarib, Schwarzbach, Yankovic. Here where I was the Salmon King, Isadora, whence Zaitanger, Solomon the King, where this your strength, where God was. God, where was, where this and that. Where was your strength when God went on a bender. God forgot who you were. God. You were chosen to stand naked in the garden, your arms outstretched. God. Where was your strength when God went on a bender? You offered your virginity like loaves of bread, buckets of bone and flesh, smiles turned inward. Micha, Ruth, Nicole, Paulette. Booze, brothers and sisters, lives sewn tight. We are no longer here for you, nor were you ever here for us. Both this Lazaron, and the fountain is still overflowing, and the birds have quieted down. and the documentation is complete. The independent, indispensable verdict is though everything moves on, nothing has changed. I bend down and I find the missing hand of the clock, and time begins again, a pretext for liberation. She and I, naked as newborns, deported from the garden again, always deported from the garden again. And the salad's been altered and tossed, and the waiter is frantic and rude and busy, and I offer him a joke and he accepts it and laughs, and the birds have quieted down for a moment. And if you notice, wherever we go, there are always souvenirs. Always souvenirs. And the 6-day bicycle race has ended, and the children hold the books in their hands, and the web-footed pigeon courts itself in the blood-red glass, and she stares into the canal and proclaims, "The blood looks murky." "You mean the water," I tell her. "Yes," she says, and the pigeon rests the way a duck would, one event leading to another, and I pitch my tent beside the fountain and wait. All of a sudden, a voice inside my head speaks to me in another language that I do not understand. Another voice inside my head interprets it for me. The first voice is a woman, the second a man. I peer through the flaps of my tent, look out across the Canal San Martin. She has not returned. She has not yet returned. Where is she? She has not returned. And no matter how hard we look for them, there are no children left from the past. With a sweep of my foot, the right one, I wipe away all their traces. And from somewhere, a trumpet resonates, telling me that evening has arrived. Soon night, then morning, then the echo. The echo will begin again, and the door will reopen once again. And the young boy conducts the orchestra from his seat in the audience. He has managed to survive. None of the others have. He has made it to the future. She remains naked and suspended in time. She is older than he, yet younger. She is his mother, his sister, his lover. He bites her patinaed arm. And all I can think is, Oedipus did not kill his father for nothing. As I lay suspended in this golden liquid, hands too heavy to move, the compass traveling inward, and all thoughts of direction vanish, and all journeys become murmuring showers of might, mites and might. And it always comes down to might. And I have to admit that even the duck salad is no longer itself. It's no longer real. Its original self has been altered. Only the memory of the salad lingers. And because it wasn't very far, and you know what very far is, it's a pretty absurd realm. It's a pretty absurd realm we live in because it wasn't very far, and you know what far is. It's a pretty absurd realm. And the light flows both ways as particle and wave, thus sailing out the window. Flight, two people gone on, organ, eyes stripped. Oku Wako Palabra, world's loco past this feud. Red light, some night, ooh-la, ooh-la, ooh-la. This cave is animal shaped, preferring out lemon. And the magic mirror divided its face off, sits day and everyone is happily felicitoed, and the comet and the king even concordant to avail the whirl of red-orange leaves around the small glass. Yet the leaves find us acute on the magic mirror we walk through. Here in the rippled shadow of the tarnished pot, the hand with such seed is born beneath the ruby tones, exacted here, burning his tongue. I am a telepath, pathetically plodding through a sea of 16-year-olds. This is where the shoreline ends and begins. This is a continuous voyage of from the netherworld, the child spirits, guide posts, and ferrymen, they all speak to me. From the netherworld, the child spirits, the guide posts, and ferrymen, they all speak to me. They whisper in my ear that it is not God that says we are good. They whisper in my ear and they say, it is not God that says we are bad. They whisper in my ear and they say, it is not God who must forgive us. They whisper in my ear and they say, it is not God who grants us peace. It is. When I asked the tall, thin tenor man why he played Naima every week, his way, he said, listen, I thought vehicle, beautiful vehicle, sensual melody, sinewy. Why do you play Naima every week, I asked. He says, listen, I'm caught at the bottom of the empty glass with all those colorful crumpled candy wrappers, and my eyes spin like old vinyl I listened to 30 years ago. And my thoughts are penciled in by my great artist friends balladeering, and I ask, why do you play Naima every week? Your way, but Naima just the same. He calls it to the other members of the trio, Naima. Then he plays it. Warm, soft woman that she is, fingers that they are, red animal that we all share somewhere. He needs her. He sees the opening in her name. He prays for her. Naima. Naima. I am her. I am her. And many have heard you, and she syllables through your reeds. I am an old wound, but a comforting one. I am an aristocrat. I am an artist, an old law. An old law. Why is the call always bottomless when there is Naima to play? Why, I ask, bottomless? Listen, he says. He says, listen. Listen, he says. He says, listen. Listen, he says, listen. I listen to old vinyl, but I do not hear. I look at books, but I don't read. I'm warm, but I wear my coat, and I can't stop this Junk drip from my nose. Stuffy like the toonie said, I said it wasn't, but I didn't. And I get high, but I don't ingest. And I get low, but I do not sink. And I didn't. I know I didn't. It's a simple matter of interpretation anyway. And the buds are budding at the wrong time. Crocus, daffodil, hyacinth, tulip, lily. I prick myself on them all. And I'm mad and never knowing what it is I'm mad at. This anonymous everyone you are. And I just keep getting phone calls that want to ask me something. They always want to ask me something. And a blue anchor weighs down my heart. And my heart is like a white dot. A white dot with a stick stuck right through it. Crazy white dot that our elders put us through. Through chimney smoke and short sleeves. This is a weather of chance. This is our melody. Our great big Jones. My stuffy drippy nose is playing with the cosmos. Pure. I'm branded art. I'm a thoughtless garden. I'm homeless trousers. I'm a hole that shows your fleshy arse. I'm narrated notes. I'm always trying to be something in these. I'm a friend unfolding. I'm basic activity. I'm long strides and I'm a heavy load. You can take away my gallon. You can take away my soil. You can grab my jackfruit and you can squeeze my mangles and you can even establish my goals. You can make me a heathen and you can sing me songs. You can alter my breath and you can rewrite my story. You can rain on my charade and you can explain the entire universe to me. When our atmosphere is gone, the universe will still go on. You can tell me there have never been any human scandals. You can straighten my tie, my mirror, my cold public smile. You can take away my Africa. You can take away my Europa. You can take away my America. You can weave my world so it's closer to yours. You can straighten out my memoirs or dictator. You can call me a clear blue sky, mean and nasty like. You can slice me till I drip. You can drop me like a hot dog down a narrow road. I'm gonna keep on talking. I'm gonna keep on talking anyway. Jones, dust, architecture, and ash. You can drop me like rain, like a sack of old potatoes. I listen, but I do not hear. You can dump me like a dirty wind. You can push it, but don't push it. Stress, wiggle, honey. I listen to old money, but I do not hear. I can only touch. You better not touch. You can touch. You better not touch. Touch. You better not touch. You can rename my town. You can crush my car. You can batter my spirit. You can kick my spine. You can burn down my forest. And you can mount me like I'm a dog. But please don't take away my eyes. Please don't take away my eyes. Please don't take away my eyes. It's about polyphony. It's about the whole damn shot. It's about polyphony. It's about cool peaks and hot valleys and wild rides. The dream just for the dreamer. It's about yellow, red, black, green, red, black, white, blue, yellow, red, black, green, black, white, blue, yellow, red, black, green, black, white, blue. It's about the patches red like pages of cloudy dreams, the dream, just like the dreamer dreams. It's about repeating and beating and winging and blending and loving, and it's about the urgency and about craving the apple even though it's a sin. It's about opening the belly to songs. It's about spreading the news of the day. It's about a serious, precise image, these underground diamonds, these elixir tones within the silences. It's about jazz. It's about jazz and how it makes me. It makes me. How it makes me. We live in a world where only an outlaw can spread the news. It's a lawless world. This lawless world, and only the outlaw can spread the news. It's a precise image. We eat and we drink and we smash our heads. And it's jazz that makes me. It's jazz that makes me. It's jazz that makes me. And it's what comes into the back of our heads and the front of our heads and the side of our heads and our eyes and our ears and our tongues, and what's come through our arms and what's come through our legs and what's come through our fingers and what's come through our little old toes. It's the music in the moment. It's the swiftness of the waterfall. It's the water falling swiftly in the concert with the sky. It's the cold statue. It's what the soft walls know and what the hard walls know and what the high walls know and what the low walls know. Only an outlaw can spread the news in this lawless world. This lawless world. This clicking money world. This clicking radical, precisely looks money world, the eye figure of the elliptical shape of the honest magic web, lace honest web, that mocking hum drums. Only the outlaws can spread the news in this lawless world. It's jazz that makes me mock a hum drum in this lawless world. It's like getting and squeezing and lacing the line and dry. It's like cleansing and laundering and altering the hairline and the bark of the chicken hawk and the liberty tree turning the fresh air and the buzzing in the water creatures. And only the outlaws can save us now. That clicking and the whooshing and the clicking and the whooshing and the whooshing and the clicking and the clicking and the whooshing and the whooshing and the clicking and the clicking and the whooshing and the whooshing and the clicking and the clicking and the clicking and the whooshing and the cleansing and the holding and the... What planet is this? How do we reference ourselves? Where is the point of no return? How is it we are walking so flatly on a round world? Empty sphere unloading? This is a planet of hurricanes. This is a time of decency and dissent when only the less than holy will survive. Walking through this wet world, through this thirst, clear world, blue world, literally in decay. It's the money that's the mangling. Jazz makes me. Jazz that makes me. It exists only for itself, to experience itself, crust of its own gift, to fade deep into the pocket of one's own, owned its own. God got ludicrous in a box and not in the dance, and the backward came home again, in the backbone, and the backward came home again, in the backbone, and it went something to the heart, through the heart, through the heads, through the souls. It's the bad that makes us a speechless, toothless, murderous times. It's the bad, and only. What save us now. Only the outlaw can save us now. Jazz is what makes it. Jazz is what makes it. Crying a prayer goes through the back of my head and through the front of my head and through the fingers and through the toes and through the soul. It's a prayer for the bodies of the wanderers who are trapped inside the sound inside the body of sound, the naked cheekbone stuck within the knot of winding through the brittle air, the rhythm is the silence. Brother, hear me. 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 Jazz makes me. Jazz makes me. Faithful in its permanent world. Faithful in its front. And the darkness opens and there you are, brother. The darkness opens and there you are. Jazz makes me favor in this impermanent world. Jazz makes me. That is what goes to the back of our heads and the front of our heads and the sides of our heads and the eyes and the ears and the tongues. What comes through our very arms and our legs and our fingers and our toes is what comes through our very hearts and our souls. It's jazz that makes me. It's when the eyes are directed forward and the past goes through the ordinary vision. It's when the upper level frees the margin. It's click. It's only the outlaws save us now in this lawless world, and it's jazz that makes me. It's jazz that makes me outlaw, bringer of order and chaotic song. Music is my world. Beneath this world of words, beneath this world of words, paradise is always now. We are transformed and we are haunted by ourselves, and we struggle to be real, and we struggle to think within this thoughtless world, waiting to join ourselves as a party. We're always waiting for ourselves. We're waiting for ourselves, and we're waiting to join ourselves as a party. We're waiting for the news to break. We're always waiting for the news to break. I love you. I'll kill you. Have a good day. I miss you. Forgive me. Jazz makes me. We only have one question for you, and we know you've taken in a lot, so you're allowed to say no. We would like to do a trio, but it's okay if you say no. No. Who said no? The bass player? No. He's fired. Okay. No, so we're really gonna leave it up to you guys.
Okay.
And don't worry about it. If you had enough, it's okay, we won't be offended. Especially if you buy them. we don't need clapping, we just wanna know whether you had enough. You're okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's it, we don't need to be begged. You don't wanna do it? You're okay? See, my new friend, he's stubborn. No, I don't want to. Okay, look, I'll give you another check later. Okay, I'm gonna read two travel pieces while these guys play. I don't know how it's gonna work, but we'll see how it works. The first one is another one of those places I completely pronounce wrong. It's called Giverny. And from Giverny, we're gonna go to Kerouac's hometown in Lowell, Massachusetts. Anybody here like Jack Kerouac? No one here likes Jack Kerouac. No, we thought he was French. But we know he was really Canadian.
There you go.
Yeah. Are you proud of that fact?
I am.
Actually, he was American. He was born in Lowell. Now, Monet wasn't as confused as Kerouac. Although sometimes I think Monet thought he was Japanese. We'll see what happens. I told you somebody had enough. Come on. Of course I will. Okay, let these children go out. I don't blame them. They need some air. See, one of the great things about coming here is I see people I love very much that I don't get to see in New York. That's always a good thing. When I go back to New York and I see people I love very much. I don't know. I traveled to Giverny for my father, who never heard of Monet, through a garden on a Sunday afternoon. I traveled to Giverny despite my desire to stay in bed, despite my losing against myself time and time again, despite the changing Paris sky, the Eiffel Tower's tip. I traveled to Giverny in order to blur the boundaries between herb and suburb. Tombstones and circuit breakers along the way. I traveled to Giverny because she travels to Giverny. Because this is one of her dreams. And because we are so tired of each other and the city streets we've walked for hours every day for weeks. And because she cannot go by herself and I cannot go by myself. So we travel to Giverny together on a train packed with tourists. Tourists just like me. I traveled to Giverny with the thought of what I might be missing tonight in some small club on some back street within the city's heart. I traveled thinking about all the phone calls I should have made while in Paris, all the letters I didn't write. I traveled to Giverny for my mother, who sometimes wore dark glasses on hot sunny days, who never stood in the museum garden muttering to the bathing statues. My mother, who tried her best to give me a bit of education outside the system, despite her own lack of knowledge. My mother, who loved me so much it hurt, and me not knowing still if to love means to inflict pain. I traveled to Giverny on a train filled with proletarians who, like me, I presume, are traveling to Giverny for the first time, for themselves and for others who will never make the trip. We travel to Giverny as the landscape finally changes from urban to industrial to suburban. Green, white collar like Long Island. We'd sometimes visit Long Island, Giverny. I feel like a train wreck and she feels blessed. And we concur that ignorant does not mean stupid. I travel to Giverny as the clouds and sun vie for equal time in the too blue sky, to Giverny to experience someone else's life. A guy, just another guy, she admits. Giverny. The genie has been released from the bottle, and guess what? It's just another guy, a dead guy like my father who puts his hands behind his head, closes his eyes, and takes a nap. Dreaming about the colors he used to paint the walls of strangers with, the neat colors that become indistinguishable strokes of paint, the strokes becoming lilies on a faraway pond. I never asked my parents what they knew or what they'd seen. Small yellow wildflowers and Queen Anne's lace along the tracks. I never thought I'd meet someone as simple and lovely as Ryoko. With such honest, romantic, simple and unfulfilled desires. Her frilly hats and flowered dresses fluttering in the wind of her kitchen. I traveled to Giverny for my brother who traveled to Florida once too often. I traveled to Giverny. For my return ticket to New York is not for 10 more days, and my return ticket from Giverny is for tonight. Giverny, I traveled to Giverny. G-I-V-E-N-Y. Giver, New York. I traveled to Giverny for everything I have is in someone else's hands, and everything she has is in someone else's hands, and everything he had is in someone else's hands. I traveled for my mother, my father, my brother. I haven't even gotten there yet, and the journey has totally wiped me out. I traveled to Giverny. I traveled to Giverny. I traveled to Giverny. To see what I can take back with me. Take back with me. I am more of a hearing person than a seeing person, though the colors do reach me in time. We're always so fascinated by how the other guy lived or died. I'm fumbling around, I'm lost in Giverny, in a garden of obsession, in a house of obsession. I pick up a small stone from the path. Monet, undoubtedly one of the great painters of all time, probably only had one toilet that didn't flush. He never charged people to come to his house or garden. He'd stand on the bridge by the pond, alone or with a friend, a lover, a wife, or a kid. He'd point to the willows or the lily pads. He'd sketch the reflections of the way the dappled light spaced itself on the water of the railing. He'd immerse himself in the reflection of the sky. He'd marvel at the way illusion and reality mixed. Or he'd walk around his garden, counting the countless flowers, or he'd cook in his kitchen, smelling the mixing aromas as he stare at the prints along the walls. Then he'd go into his studio while the light was still good, and he'd change the lilies into indistinguishable strokes of paint that were neater than one could imagine. I'm a hearing person, more than a seeing person. The leaves are changing somewhere outside Brewster. It's rare that we ever leave New York, the island. But here we are. And we're moving with the changing leaves north on Interstate Weeping Willow. Slowly changing, and it's early in the season, and there are natural points of change within a given time. Cross River, Weed Bear, Exit 6, closing I-684 is that way. Brewster 11, crawling 23, I think it said. We are born on Peter Pan's back, carried, changing by people professionals, wards of the lake in the solar system, carried like stars on the poet's back. The second best thing to do during a lifetime is to plan a revolution. The first best thing is to revolt. The last best thing is to know what you've done and why you've done it. Hard thinking like rearranging all those letters in a Scrabble box. Coke and lots of land for sale. Always lots of land for sale. Kerouac told Waylon in a letter dated 12/4/68, call me up sometime, Phil. My number in St. Pete is 343-1541. Road work for the next mile. Don't give this number to anyone. I don't want visitors. I'll strangle them. The first thing is to plan your life. The second thing is to live it. Kerouac told Waylon to return his books. He told Waylon not to worry, to move somewhere far away, do something else, maybe. The leaves where they have begun to show red, show such a red, not red light or emergency, but a subtle change of life. Kerouac tells Waylon he wants that copy of Blake's Jerusalem back. A sign planted on the cemetery lawn says, travel services. The second thing is to hunt. The first thing is to let your prey go free. Maple and fir, they never change in this water town, this highway of exits and bridges and footings. The weeping willow chases the wind away. The wind wanders down the highway into the small city. It rests atop one of the two main spires where angels rest, sleeping and weeping and thinking and praying. Kerouac mentions other books as well. He's drunk. He's been hit in the head with all that television has made available to him. He wants to write as much as he can, and read, and rest, and drink. He wouldn't mind Waylon's company, but he doesn't really seek anybody else. Food, phone, gas, lodging. Here we are in God's gymnasium. The last best thing about the leaves is when they start still moist, falling and forming a carpet of reds and yellows and all the fire colors on the ground. The first best thing is to know they'll change. The second best thing is when pretty much all of them have changed and the leaves are still on the branches, they start drying and making noise. And then winter comes, and the trees look so cold, and you wonder how they can stand being that naked. Kerouac says to Waylon that he's going to build a big fenced-in outdoor library in his backyard. He'll sit all day, read and write and drink Boilermakers and look at his Georgia pine, his banyan tree, and his bush tree of some kind or another that's at least 25 feet high. Well, Phil, take care of yourself. Don't meditate too much. The leaves are changing. They're free, and the reds and yellow oranges are softly creeping through the greens. Food, phone, gas, lodging are not very far away. Kerouac's letter is safe under glass at the public library, along with his dreams and some of the Dharma. His shoulder is closed. This life is a new town, a blasting zone, a blue colony, a diesel under glass. Under glass. Maybe if it's all under glass, the colors won't change so much. They will not go brown and brittle like the leaves when their changes are complete. Maybe if all our lives were under glass. And then when the blasting zone ends, the best music, the best fishmonger, the best refuge is Peter Pan's back above the clouds as the rain begins falling east on Highway I-84. Food, phone, gas, lodging. Let's, you and I, ride together into the corner of this very room. Let's, you and I, lie together beneath the fast-drying leaves. Let's sing together, so deaf that we are, but hearing every sound. Let's blow together the way the wind blows down the highway. Then let's stop together on Asylum Street beneath the Golden Dome and walk together. Let's walk together through the capitals of heaven like two naked trees that just hit the jackpot. Let's straight talk our way into warmth. Ah, look at the flags. Look at the flags as they wave. The flags. But please, let's stop pretending that we've seen all this before. Because you know as well as I know that the leaves are changing for the very first time. The leaves are changing for the very first time. The leaves are changing. The leaves are changing for the very first time. The leaves are changing. The leaves are changing. to the city because all the stars are disappearing.